Hi everybody, welcome to YS Kong Driving, and today we're in a very nice car. This is the Mazda CX-8. But before we go into testing the Mazda CX-8, let's talk a little bit about these coming holidays. Everybody is getting ready for Chinese New Year, just as I am, because I'm Chinese too, yeah. And here's a bit of tips about how to avoid getting stuck in jams. So basically there are two things you can do. One, the first thing you can do is how can you avoid the jams, okay, your personal action. And the second thing you can do is how can you contribute towards making the road safer and smoother, so that there will be less of these traffic jams. Because every Chinese New Year it is always a talk. It's always about, it took me 5 hours to get from KL to Ipoh or vice versa, 8 hours to get to Penang and things like that. So right now we are actually in a jam. This is not the New Year exodus. It is now 3:30 in the afternoon and I'm trying to get onto the NKVE, and you can already see in front that it is jammed. Just check the recording. Yes, recording is on. And well, this is the rush hour starting very early, yeah. But anyway, here are things. Let's look at the two things. Actually, two things you can do how to avoid the jam. Of course, the first one everybody knows, but not everybody follows, and that is to plan your departure time. If you're driving for a long distance, you must try to use the times that are not on peak hours, yeah. Of course, if everybody is going back, Chinese New Year is going to be on the 25th, and that is on Saturday. So that means on the 24th, which is the New Year's Eve, Friday, there will be a lot of traffic trying to get back home for the reunion dinner. So for those of you who are staying outstation, if you can, plan your journey. Of course, you're not going to work on Friday if you are taking leave. So maybe Thursday night you want to leave, and so you should choose your time. If I were going to go to Penang, I would leave around midnight. Then I would take 4 hours to drive to Penang, slow drive. I will arrive in the morning, then I'll sleep it off. Yeah. If I was going to Johor Bahru, I'd do the same too. So after work on Friday is going to be jam. So Thursday is the best time. If you can, take Thursday off and start off Thursday morning, early in the morning. And so that's what I mean by planning your departure time, yeah. And then the other thing is, of course, please use Waze, because Waze is live and it will tell you which is the best route to take. Right now I'm not on Waze because I know where I'm going, a very short distance, and it's jammed. There's no other choice for me, and here I am trying to stream into the traffic to make it as smooth as possible. Okay, so two things you can do, yeah. Use Waze and also plan your departure time. And so that's two things you can do to avoid the jam and unpleasantness. But if you can't, there are several things you can do. Or even if you do, yeah, you travel on the road, there are several things you can do to make your journey a bit more pleasant and less troublesome. And so guys, what I'm asking you to do is to not contribute to the jam. So here are things you can do. One is I'm going to surprise you by saying don't drive too slow. If you drive too slowly, you are actually creating a jam behind you, yeah. So it doesn't matter whether you're driving on the right hand lane, the middle lane, or the left hand lane. If you go too slow, you could be blocking traffic, okay. You've seen many cases where there's a truck and is hounding that little compact car driven by a very timid person going at 80 kilometers per hour on a highway where the speed limit is 110. Okay, so I'm not asking you to speed, but I'm asking you to not go slow, yeah? Okay, this is thirsty work, man. I need to drink a bit. So, please drive at the speed that the traffic is going, okay? If the traffic is going at 80 kilometers per hour, you stick to 80 and you follow the trend, okay? If you go too slow, you are bucking the trend, and that can cause inconvenience to others. If you go too fast, you are also bucking the trend. You can also be a nuisance to others, okay? So, and then, yeah, okay, some of you may say, yeah, but I can't drive fast. Fine, if you can't drive fast, actually, here's a bit of advice. If you cannot handle the car at 110, perhaps you might consider whether you should be driving or not. And if you're going in a group, if you're the only driver, then you can't help it lah. But it's really sad if you're a poor driver and you're the only one who's available. You are actually endangering everybody in the car. Not just yourself, but everybody else in the car, because you can't handle the car. Okay, so, but if you really cannot help it and say, all my life I've never driven more than 80 kilometers per hour, then you should do the next best thing. Okay, so my first advice is don't drive if you can help it. If you can't help it, then you should see people are overtaking me on the left and the right. Okay, so if you can't help it, then you drive slowly on the left lane. Okay, that's the least you can do for everybody else. Okay, that is one. So next, don't be in the middle or the right hand lane. No matter what your speed, you should try to keep the right hand lane clear. And if you're going slow, keep on the left. If you're not overtaking, keep on the left. Okay, if you're overtaking cars on the left lane, then you take the middle lane. But if you can, move over to the left. Okay, leave the lanes clear. Don't be mistaken, yeah. Going at 110 does not entitle you to be on the right hand lane. You should always be courteous and let others through. Not because you want to, or you may not feel good about letting others drive past you quickly and all. But let's put it this way, it's for your own safety. Yeah, I know some of you say, "Oh, idiot going so fast, he's endangering other people." But if he wasn't going fast and he was on your tail, he's actually endangering you. So it's best for you to let him go. Okay, it's not very nice to have going 110 and a car right on your tail. Okay, right up your behind and flashing you or really close. I've seen in the rain, there's one MPV, one of those big large ones, from Japan, going, and then another car behind him, barely 3 feet away from him, trying to get stuck to him with super glue, and it's raining. Just imagine if anything happens, the front car breaks, the back car will hit, and you don't want that to happen. Okay, so don't encourage people to end up behind you. If they are behind you, they are probably trying to tell you something, asking you to get out of the way. Yeah, so you should let them through, and the reason why you should let them through is for your own safety. Okay, next is exits of the highway, and usually the exits you're looking at is Malacca, also at Seremban, also at Ipoh. So what happens is the people wanting to go to the left will try to overtake because there's a queue. They will try to go on the right hand lane and try to cut in at the last moment. Then you have 2 or 3 rows of people trying to cut into the one exit, and everybody else who wants to go straight has to slow down, and it becomes a jam. And that is how these jams on the highway happen. It's hard to imagine, a 3-lane highway all the way from Johor Bahru all the way to Bukit Kayu Hitam, and the road can get jammed. It is because people at exits are not streaming themselves, or rather taking the correct lane. So at exits, what you need to do is you need to get into the left-hand lane, signal your intent to exit, and stay there. Don't try to overtake cars on the other lanes, to try to get to the front of the queue and try to cut in. Because if a lot of you do that, what's going to happen is that there's going to be a big congestion at that point, and everybody else who wants to go straight cannot go, and then you get a jam on the highway because of that. killed. So that's another cause. And if you cooperate and everybody does the right thing, then you won't get this jam, especially at the exit points. Yeah, so you can help by doing that. So please be patient and take your turn. Don't try to shortcut, because you will make life miserable for others, and then you get people staring and cursing at you. Okay, and then the other one is if you are in line and you're driving, give yourself a bit of space between cars. That's for safety. Yeah? Don't put your nose right up against the tail of the vehicle in front, because in a traffic jam situation, or if you're going at high speed, if anything happens to the front, you get reaction and you become collateral damage. So you've got to give yourself the space. And also, you need to let people in. If somebody wants to cut in, that he must have a reason, whether it's valid or not, or whether he's cutting in on you to take advantage of the situation or not. He wants to cut in, and you should let him in. Don't jostle for that extra little space like you do every day on your way to work, yeah? Because it's really not worth it. In the interest of safety, you should let people in. Even in traffic jam situations, when I go to work in the morning, I let people in, because I know it's easier to let them in and then just follow them than to jostle for the space, you know, move an inch, fighting with each other over that one space. And that causes a lot of aggravation. So it's really not worth it. So that's about it. And a couple more points, just two more. One is when you're overtaking on the highway, please overtake smartly. Yeah, you overtake smartly and then you move into your lane. Right now there's nobody behind us. Okay, and of course this road is quite jammed, so I'm just staying out here because there's a lot of cars. But you should do like this car. You overtake smartly and move in. So some of you might say, oh yeah, but that will affect my fuel consumption. Okay, in the interest of road safety, yeah, fuel consumption goes out the window. Yeah, so please do that. And of course, once you've overtaken, don't forget to change back into your lane. Okay, like what we're doing now. And then if there are cars coming, you should let them pass by. And of course, every good driver looks in the rearview mirror once every 5 to 7 seconds. Yeah. Again, the other one is if you are on the trunk road, yeah, and if you are following a bunch of cars or vehicles, don't follow too close if you cannot overtake. Okay, if you can overtake, you overtake quickly and you get back in. But if you cannot overtake, do not follow too close to the car in front, because you must allow any other car that is faster than you to overtake you and slot in, and then overtake that car and slot in again. Because if there's, let's say, a truck and there's you, then the third person who has to overtake you has to overtake 2 cars. Okay, and then the person who is trying to overtake him will have to overtake 3 cars. So what's going to happen is, if there's no space to overtake on the trunk road, yeah, you'll find a long line of cars lining up, and then again it becomes worse and worse, and it becomes slow, and tempers will flare, and people will start taking all kinds of risks, and then it becomes dangerous for all. And of course, it becomes a traffic jam. Yeah. So don't forget, if you are the second or third car and you don't intend to overtake, so what you should do is slow down and leave a space in between. Have a nice holiday and enjoy your Chinese New Year celebration. And those of you who are not celebrating, well, enjoy your holidays, yeah, and drive safe. And we'll see you again after the Chinese New Year. All right, bye-bye.